Hello, everyone. We have my buddy Leonardo. We have my buddy Preston. You have seen both of them with me in podcasts, but not together in podcasts in a while. So we're going to do a different format here today. We're going to look at some of the top talking points of the EPL weekend. But first, guys, how are we? Starting first with Preston, then with Leo. Preston, what's up?
Good, man. I had a dentist appointment like 2 hours ago. My teeth are really clean.
Lovely. Even better for being on camera. We keep it fresh here on Chatting Footy. Leo, I think you're trying to speak to our condensed podcast format by putting the results directly behind you. So I don't need to speak on all of them because the results to almost every match are directly behind you.
Good morning, Patriots.
Okay. Very well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I mean, I guess somewhere in the world it is the morning. So,
in England.
In the Philippines, where they're not, I guess they're patriots to their own country.
Yes. In England, it is not yet the morning. In Russia, it might be the morning. Anyway, moving along, because it's got to be 7 hours. So we're going to run through some of the top highlights of the weekend. Most of the games are going to be talked about as we run through some of the top events, but actually two of the most eventful games are not going to be discussed. A 3-3 draw between Newcastle and Brentford and a 3-3 draw with Burnley and Crystal Palace, which actually, considering the 4 teams that were playing, it was actually shocking that there were 12 goals among them, but that's going to be the whole extent of what we're talking about. But top 3 highlights of the week, and we're going to start with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being fired after Watford beat Man U 4-1. So, first of all, any thoughts on the game? Floor is open. Any thoughts on the game? Shrug. Leo.
I was surprised. I'm not sure what time they got a red card, but I'm thinking it had a lot to do with it. And surprised and not surprised, right? Because Man United had it coming. We were all kind of seeing it crush and break down all in front of us, which made it fun. And every game we're just thinking, when is this motherfucker going to be out? And he's finally out. And we're finally here talking about it.
I mean, they seem to gain some excitement, I guess, when Ronaldo came on. And they played excitedly for a couple of games. And then that kind of like wore off, I guess. And then it was just back to the way that they were, sort of.
So, yes, 2 things to go through. First of all, when the red card came, it was already 2-1 Watford. It was in the 69th. Yes, Watford scored 2 more goals, but they scored twice in the first half. And just going to unpromptedly ask this question. It is currently November 22nd. The last time Man U played was November 20th. Guessing. When do you think the last time Manchester United won a game in the league? What date? If you were to guess, both of you, just unprompted guess. Without looking, what date do you think was the last time they won? If you were guessing.
Was it before EPL Cup matches?
August 12th.
The season didn't start. Hadn't started yet.
Oops.
Didn't they lose in the EFL Cup, or they had a close game?
The league. We're just talking about the league. Because everything's bad anyway, but I just want to specify the league.
I know, but
September 12th.
Their last one was before that. That's like I'm using that as like the landmark.
Yeah. Yes. So as Leo lightly alluded to, and just try to grasp your head around this one for a minute. It is brain-boggling. On September 19th, Manchester United beat West Ham at the London Stadium in the game with the missed penalty kick in the 96th minute or whatever. That was the last Premier League game they've won. Since then, they have lost to Villa, drew against Everton, lost to Leicester, lost to Liverpool. I'm sorry, they did beat Tottenham, but I'm not counting that. And then they lost to City and lost to United. You know what the stat was? I flubbed the stat. The stat was since that day, they've won less games than Norwich have won, because Norwich has won 2, because they won 2 in a row. I'm sorry, I messed that one up. I knew I missed something in there. Man United have won 1 game. So yeah.
That's 2 months. That's over 2 months now. That's a few days over 2 months. 1 game.
And they've won 1 game. And they've won 1 game. So yes, this has been coming for a while. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is out at Man United. What they are saying is they're going to put Michael Carrick in at manager in the interim, and then they're going to hire a permanent interim manager to get through the season. Then they're going to look for a manager. So if you're following the bouncing ball there, over the next 6 months, in a 6-month period, Man U will have 4 managers. Ole, Carrick, a permanent guy to get them through the season.
They'll have 3 after. They'll have 3
after Ole. So, yeah. I mean,
why wouldn't they just go get a coach?
Here's my best question.
Nobody likes to be on a team halfway through the season.
I know, but you're talking about Man United. You're not talking about, like, this isn't Norwich. Like, this isn't some team that's like
probably like
nobody like,
because you got double the spotlight on you.
This is somebody who most of us have said, but like just the other day we were talking about where we think everybody's going to fall, and this is a team that most of us said they'll probably get it together some way, just because of the talent, just because of the brand, just because they've had success in the past. They'll finish 5th or 6th. I mean, we all kind of estimated that. They've not performed well, but you would think that this is one of the top names in the EPL. Somebody would want to come coach there, even if they have to pick up a mess and start halfway through a season. Surely, if this is me, if I'm them, I would go get a coach. Why mess around with having 2 interims? I mean, unless they look at the situation and what they're assessing is that there's nobody out there that's a fit for their organization that they want right now. And that's possible. I haven't studied it.
No, you're absolutely right. So a couple things I want to go through, and then I actually have a question. So Aston Villa hired Steven Gerrard. Tottenham hired Antonio Conte. Even Norwich City hired Dean Smith, who has some sort of credentials. So if those jobs, which are not Manchester United, good, bad, or indifferent, is one of the top 5 jobs in club football. It is. It's Manchester United. It doesn't matter that it's been 9 years since they've won the Premiership, and I'm just assuming they won't win it this year. It's been 8. I'm going to assume they're not going to win it this year. So it'll be 9 years. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that they very well could fall out of the Champions League. Doesn't matter that they're not the same. It's like with Barcelona. Barcelona isn't Barcelona anymore. But if that job wasn't like shoehorned for Xavi, anyone would want to go to Barcelona because it's Barcelona. So United is the same way. So they should be able to get a manager. So right now, the top guys are Zinedine Zidane, Mauricio Pochettino, and Eric Ten Hag. Zidane is available. He's a free agent. Ten Hag would have to leave Ajax and Poch would have to leave PSG. And for different reasons, I don't know why you would leave those jobs. Ten Hag is building a nice thing at Ajax, and
It's not.
Pochettino has Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi.
I wouldn't.
But
leave
he's already expressed himself being open to that job position.
Oh yeah, no, because he also has Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, and he doesn't like that he has zero say on anything, like at all. Period. He doesn't like Paris. His wife still lives in London, so coming back to Man U could happen. But here's the bigger question: do you think that Man U needs a manager that fits? Do they need a manager that fits the team they have, or does the team they have need to fit a manager? So that's really to say, do you keep the team how it is, or do you mold it for a new manager?
That's a really good question. You had talked about the difference in a coach and a manager, and that's sort of the nature of your question, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, do they need somebody to just sort of coach and change the, what the team is versus just managing what's in place? I think, the truth of the matter is they need a little bit of both. I think as an organization, as a business, and as a brand, none of that needs to change. It's not like they need to revive anything in that sense. And they do have talent. I don't know. That's a really good question. What do you think, Z or Leo?
Man, I think that it's time for Cristiano to coach. And maybe him and Carrick can team up. Maybe Pochettino can come in until the end of the season and kind of guide Ronaldo on how to, I don't know, teach him something.
But Zolli's point about Pochettino not getting along with Mbappe, I don't want to say not getting along, but not liking that he's not like in control. Do you not see that potentially being a dynamic issue with him and Ronaldo too?
That is exactly where I was getting at.
If Cristiano Ronaldo is still a player by the time that Pochettino comes in, then yeah. But what if he's not? What if he's like, I don't know. It'd be weird.
If you're wanting the team to succeed, if you're a fan of the team, I'm not pulling against them. I am, but I don't want them to completely crash and burn. You would want what you just said, Leo. You would want Ronaldo and interim to, find some excitement, find some ability to win with what they have in whatever interim capacity, and put together a decent season. For them to finish fifth at this point, I think would be a success for sure. I don't know, Chris. I don't know to answer your question. You look at the names on the table and you consider what they might do if they were to come in. Any coach, manager, whatever you want to call it, is going to come in and there's going to be a period of, I don't know, a month where it is sort of just trying to figure out, what do I make of this? What of this needs to be changed? Because on the outside looking at it, from an external coach coming in, you come in blind to a lot of that, the systematic obstacles you have to get around, and just the personalities in the dressing room. You don't know everybody.
Well, what I think, and he's kind of rebuffed any conversation of it, is Zidane would be the best fit, mainly because he was successful with Ronaldo. He's French, and Paul Pogba is over the moon to eventually, at the prospect of eventually playing for him. He can handle egos. Look at what he did with Real Madrid. All those egos that were in that locker room, and They won 4 Champions Leagues. They won 4 Champions Leagues. They won a bunch of La Ligas. They were super successful. And he found a way, and this really goes back to the big issue of handling Ronaldo. I know that I mentioned it before, but Ronaldo obviously has an elevated view of himself. And you need a manager that's cool with that. I actually got into a good conversation with some of my Liverpool supporter friends about how in the United States, LeBron James eats coaches. Like, if a coach doesn't work for LeBron James, he's going to get him fired. And Ronaldo is somewhat similar. You need to manage Ronaldo, and if you manage Ronaldo correctly, you manage the team correctly. And Zidane obviously did that exceptionally well. I don't know if Pochettino would, because he doesn't have the success with them. And quite frankly, Ronaldo will walk in and say, I've won all of this. You've won nothing. You couldn't even win a league title with PSG in a league that's made for PSG to win. Ronaldo just won't listen to him. And it won't be like Ali, where at least it was a club legend. Not only a club legend, but one of his former teammates, because they played together early on in Ronaldo's career. So he won't care what Poch says. And Ten Hag from Ajax, who's that? Some of the other names, I just don't think. Brendan Rodgers from Leicester City, Ronaldo won't listen to him. He would have listened to Zidane. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But
why don't they go get him today?
What?
Why wouldn't they go get him today then? That's what
I don't know if he wants to go. I don't know if he wants to go.
Yeah, I just don't understand if
So moving on to topic number 2, the top 3. Is it just the top 3? Is it Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City? I mean, they played, the top 3 all played similar-ish types of teams. Chelsea playing Leicester, Liverpool playing Arsenal, and City playing Everton. Of course, City and Liverpool were at home, but all 3 of them just walked all over them. I mean, Liverpool comprehensively beat down Arsenal. Chelsea took care of, I don't even want to say they took care of Leicester. Leicester weren't even there. And even though Everton did everything possible to be as stingy as possible, City still walked right through them. Of course, in the City game, João Cancelo with that absolutely ridiculous assist. Leo, I think I was saying to you earlier, I don't know how he kicked the ball straight and it went to the right. I mean, physics. So I know it's reactionary. I know doing a podcast weekly, you could do kind of seat of your pants commentary. And I know Liverpool ended up losing to West Ham in the last game week. And by the way, West Ham lost to Wolves this game week. But is what we saw this week probably what we're going to see the remainder of the season? These 3 teams just kind of distancing themselves from the pack?
I think so. I mean, these are the toughest teams that they're going to play against outside of each other, right? Chelsea had a Leicester City, which can show signs of, I don't know, aggression and just very good gameplay. Jamie Vardy's dangerous always. Liverpool played Arsenal. What is it? 10 unbeaten games in a row. Doesn't get much better than that. Man City maybe had it lucky with Everton because they've been on a downhill. Would have liked to see how West Ham would play against one of the big 3, but yeah, it's as good as it's going to get. It's as competitive as it's going to get for the top 3 this weekend, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think what Zolli was saying, we could just say, see my previous when it comes to doing these frequently. But Leo, I know you and I both said, I think we both said Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, 1, 2, 3 at the end of the season if we had to call it the day. And Chris, you talked before about how that's probably going to continue. You had said you think that this is going to pretty much continue through the end of the season. I think so too. What's most interesting now is to see the 4th spot, to see if West Ham's going to stay in there or not, and they may, maybe Arsenal too. It's one of the two of them. I mean, right now, obviously, is where they fall.
So we get blinded by what goes on in the Premier League, and sometimes we get tunnel vision to say, well, they're good, but I took a look into this mainly because the badge, I wanted to see where Liverpool ranked. Liverpool right now are 5th in Europe in goal difference. Chelsea, I believe, are 3rd. So right now, the only 2 teams that have a better goal difference in Europe than Chelsea are Ajax, who make the Dutch league a joke. Ajax have 42 goals and they've allowed 2. I don't even know how that's real. And I believe the other one was Red Bull Salzburg, who does very similar in Austria. They'll just for 1 minute digest 42-2 in goals allowed and how insane that is. But yeah, I mean, we are watching, particularly in Liverpool and Chelsea, and then of course City are there too. It's just City haven't been as lethal scoring, and they've allowed, well, I was going to say they've allowed a couple goals. I think they've only allowed 6 this season, but they haven't been like scoring at ridiculous rates. But I think City are still within like the top 10. So we're looking at like 3 of the top 10 teams in Europe. And you could say, okay, well, PSG isn't on that list, and we know they're ridiculous. But what I'm getting at is these 3 teams are so much better. And I know you see Chelsea drop points to Burnley, and you see City drop points to Palace, and Liverpool lose to West Ham and do this and do that. These 3 teams are the 3 teams. And I think that's the long and short of it. So just to wrap up here, tight, nice and tight. I just think it's great to see some managers that are showing some extra gusto. Seeing Klopp and Arteta getting after each other on the pitch, on the touchline was great. Steven Gerrard getting the win for Aston Villa and then taking his team right in front of the home support and saying, let's clap them, which is just great to see. And then Conte. I said he's the most Italian in the history of Italian. I don't know if either one of you saw when Spurs won yesterday. Look up the video of Antonio Conte. I was joking with some buddies. Antonio Conte looks like the guy that shows up to a pregame where he's just been doing Red Bull and vodka. And nobody else is on his level. Every player he was coming up to was giving him a bear hug. Like he was like to the fans. The fans were like, whoa, we are not ready for this. This man was amped. Like some of the players looked scared when he came up to celebrate. Like they were like, yeah. And Conte's like, oh. And the players like, bro, chill. You could see it in their face. They looked scared when he was coming to bear hug them. But that's what you want to see. You want to see managers it matters to. And I think, just to tie it up nicely, United needs someone like that. They need somebody who it's going to matter to. I mean, you got a little bit with Mourinho and Ali. It was cute because he was a United legend. He's a legend. My feeling is he skies that shot at the new camp and they don't win the 1999 Champions League, we're not talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But anyway, it's good to get managers that care.
Yep.
Thoughts?
No, I totally agree. It's cool to see. It's partly a result of tight top few. I think you're going to see that. When it's really tight, you're going to see those coaches getting more amped. The emotions come out more. Tottenham's in a place where they need that, so you're going to see that come out more. But it's great for the game. It's just a fan of the game. It's fantastic to see.
And I bring that up. I didn't even mention Pep Guardiola, who can lose his mind on a moment's notice, and Thomas Tuchel, who is also a fiery coach. So it's fun to see. I like seeing people who are invested in the game, and it's genuine. It doesn't look like it's something that they're just putting on for a show. So anyway, we will wrap up there. It was good chatting with you guys. We'll do it again later. Okay.